Another successful voyage of troop ships ended when the third contingent from Canada landed in the mother country. Two things are obvious about these Canadians. They all look happy, and they look a wonderful bunch of boys altogether.
The Canadian volunteers who poured into wartime Britain were welcomed as heroes, a breath of fresh air.
These hardy men from the land of the maple leaf are men of brawn. Trench digging in the frosty ground is just child's play to them. Canadian Highlanders were among the toughest of them. It takes more than weather to knock the smile off the face of a Canadian.
The main Canadian overseas military base was at Aldershot, near London. Some of the men and women who passed through here would be based in Britain for 6 years. Most would not see any action until the last year of the war. Unusually cold winters, boredom, and homesickness affected morale, so leisure activities were designed to boost spirits.
Yes, it's Canada in Britain. Their spare time games tell you which side of the Atlantic they come from.
The game is on.
Men from the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force played hockey and football.
The Canadians soon begin to realize they are in a real gridiron battle.
Canada, we march along.
And they were entertained by performers brought in specially from Canada. But most of the force's time was taken up training for battle. At first, the emphasis was on defensive warfare, repelling the enemy in the event of a German invasion. But as the war progressed, the training became more and more offensive. Some units trained 12 to 14 hours a day. 24-year-old Boyd Anderson was with the 1st Canadian Paratroop Battalion.
We spent most of our time out in the field shooting, running, long route marches, jumping from various types of airplanes, and in a sense trying to mold a team together in the 6th British Airborne Division that could go into France and do the job, or go wherever it was decided that we could go, you know, trying to make us into as good a fighting men as you would have anywhere in the world.
21-year-old George Lynch Staunton was a gunner with the 14th Canadian Artillery Regiment.
We worked roughly 5 days a week, all day, in various kinds of training. That may seem repetitious, but the point is that one has to be repetitious in training so that when you're dog-tired and you don't know what you're doing and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and it's raining and muddy and so on, you do what you're trained to do.
It was at Dieppe on August 19, 1942, that a Canadian division was first put to the test. 907 men from the 2nd Division were massacred when they attempted to storm German positions on the French coast. But the lessons learned from this ill-fated invasion attempt ensured the success of D-Day. As the D-Day Armada left Portsmouth Harbor, Gunner Lynch Staunton remembers feeling excited, not frightened.
Keep in mind, we were all pretty young. And when you're young, you never think you're going to get it. It's the other guy that's going to get it. I would think that most of us certainly had a concern. I wouldn't say many of us were dead scared, not at that stage. A little later on, totally different story.
As he boarded an aeroplane in the south of England, paratrooper Anderson was feeling philosophical.
It was job, you knew you had to do it. It's like a bad bronc out here at home, you know, that he's throwing everybody else off, but gee whiz, somebody's got to ride him.
Anderson made his D-Day jump, but his plane was off course, so he ended up lost behind enemy lines. He was captured and spent the rest of the war in a German prison camp. Lynch Staunton was one of the first to hit Juno Beach on D-Day, but he was wounded minutes after landing. He spent several months in a British hospital before rejoining the war in Holland.